right now at 6 o'clock. Spring is typically a time to plant your garden, but people in Berkeley, they may be forced to pull theirs off.
Clearing the foliage to a certain extent makes sense, but in certain cases it's almost impossible.
How close is too close to have plants near your house? Neighbors push back at the city's drastic new plan to prevent wildfires. Plus, it's a fierce fight to lead the town.
I'll take on anyone for Oakland.
With the election for mayor days away, can the candidates motivate voters to show up?
Now is our moment to reclaim our city.
And Silicon Valley living up to its name.
This is what Made in America looks like.
The factory coming to San Jose and the hundreds of jobs it's bringing with it. And later, let's go to the movies that a Bay Area theater Variety magazine says is one of the coolest in the world.
It is a splendid survivor of the movie palace era.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm Jeff Feely in for Juliette today. The roads to the city of Berkeley Hills can be a tight fit, and that can make it hard to get out if there's a fire. Now, the city council has a plan to try and slow the spread of fires in neighborhoods considered high risk near Tilden Park. The changes mean drastic changes to a lot of people's landscaping, including hundreds of homes between Grizzly Peak and Panoramic Hill. Kara St. Cyr talked with people in the area who had mixed reactions.
The greenery in this Grizzly Peak neighborhood is why a lot of people moved here, but soon that could change. Lush and idyllic, the character of Burt Munroy's Grizzly Peak neighborhood is unmatched. But his slice of paradise may soon look very different in the name of wildfire prevention. A new proposal would require him to remove nearly all of the plants in his garden.
So all this is going to have to go. All this is going to have to go, even though this building here is fireproofed.
Next week, Berkeley City Council is introducing a plant ban that would require people living between Tilden Park and Panoramic Hill, like Munroy, to remove plants within 5 feet of their homes. The goal is to create an ember-resistant zone where fire embers land on rock or cement instead of flammable things like plants.
It's going to look kind of barren.
Munroy thinks it's a step too far.
In certain cases, I think they're going a little beyond what's necessary. I know they want to be cautious, and the insurance companies are going crazy, but, you know, does it really help us to have that extra 5 feet?
The answer is yes, if you ask City Councilman Brent Blackaby.
So this is what they're calling the Grizzly Peak mitigation area.
Blackaby drafted this proposal with the fire department after the Palisades fire in Southern California. He'll have to clear plants around his own house, but says the 900 homes on the ridge pose a serious fire risk that can't be ignored.
If we can do that, not just 1 or 2 or 3 houses, but do it along that entire ridge, get 60, 70, 80% compliance in those neighborhoods, we're going to give the firefighters a much better chance of holding the line.
Caitlin Yates understands the reasoning behind Blackaby's proposal, but is unsure about the execution.
I hope that it will be a nuanced approach, and I hope that they'll consider the financial costs, especially for the retired families who might not have the funds.
Blackaby says a financial plan is in the works to take the pressure off residents.
This is bamboo. These are agapanthus.
Munroy is just hoping the culture of this storybook neighborhood will survive the change.
It's going to take away a lot of the beauty and you know, that makes this neighborhood what it is.
The City Council will have the ultimate say on Tuesday when they get together for a vote.
200 new jobs are coming to South San Jose with the construction of Nokia's new semiconductor facility. Officials say it's going to increase the company's production 10 times over. That new facility is opening up on San Ignacio Avenue. San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan says Nokia will also be investing in local community colleges to train and hire people from within the community like Mary Ramirez.
I had finally been granted the ability to fulfill my desire for a formal education and a job that I could take pride in. It's programs like these that does the actual work of creating jobs and lasting careers that enrich and uplift the local communities of Silicon Valley.
The city, the county, and state and feds are all contributing to the funding of that new facility. A big chunk of the money came from the CHIPS Act, a bipartisan law to bring semiconductor manufacturing back to the United States that was championed by the Biden administration. Some developing news: an appeals court has upheld a Superior Court's decision that forced VTA union members to get back to work. A 2.5-week-long strike brought bus and rail service to a screeching halt. Now, service was restored roughly 2 weeks ago. The VTA says the most recent decision will allow them to continue to serve customers, and they hope that labor leaders will come back to the bargaining table to hash out a new contract. In the city of Oakland, the ballots have been mailed out and voting is already underway. The special election is happening this coming Tuesday, and voters are going to have the opportunity to pick the city's next mayor. The apparent frontrunners at this point are former Congresswoman Barbara Lee and former City Council member Lauren Taylor. This all comes after voters recalled Mayor Sheng Tao. Interim Mayor Kevin Jenkins cleaned house, firing most of Tao's staffers after they were put on administrative leave earlier in the week. Jenkins says that that's going to let the next mayor choose their own staff. And Barbara Lee was able to cast her ballot early at her church on Fontaine Street. We are hearing a "I voted" sticker. She encouraged everyone to vote for her for mayor. Our Suji Nam got to speak with Lee and her opponent as they make the final push ahead of Tuesday's vote.
Days ahead of the special election, former Congresswoman Barbara Lee and former Oakland City Council member Lauren Taylor are making their final pitch to voters and members of the Interfaith Council of Alameda County.
Top priorities, of course, are public safety, housing, affordability, our unsheltered population, good governance, and economic development and jobs.
Now is our moment to reclaim our city, to respond with the urgency that is needed to turn things around so we stop losing residents, our businesses, revenues.
In a race that at times has been reduced to attack ads, many groups like the Oakland branch of the NAACP hope the focus will remain on the issues facing the city.
The mudslinging, the accusations, the hearsay is all a distraction. Ranked choice voting is already complicated. And so we want to make the process as simple as possible. We want to move away from the negativity.
Dr. Dee Morris of the NAACP says both candidates are lifelong members. Therefore, they've decided to not make an official endorsement. But the group remains optimistic.
We are hopeful that the future will be bright, but there is work to do.
That work includes accounting for a nearly $130 million budget shortfall.
We can have good paying jobs in the new green economy. And I would want West Oakland residents and our businesses to help me with the Port of Oakland.
Along with improving public safety and a decades-long crisis in Oakland. Homelessness.
And make sure that we make measurable progress that is sustained as opposed to re-encountering the same problems and challenges year after year after year.
Both candidates working to sway voters, addressing alleged shortcomings head on. Taylor is squashing what he says are rumors about outsider contributions to his campaign.
All of our contributions are publicly available. Almost 80% of our funding is coming from individuals right here in Oakland. These lies about corporations and outsiders, it's not true.
And Lee addressing critics that say she is an establishment candidate.
Those who say that I'm part of the establishment, they don't understand what cooperation, building coalitions, they don't understand what you need to do to bring people together to solve problems and how to build consensus.
As the city prepares to choose its next leader, both candidates hope that they can be the catalyst for change in Oakland.
And out of the roughly 250,000 ballots mailed out, nearly 39,000 have already been returned. That's about 15%. Again, voters have until Tuesday, April 15th to cast their ballots. We're going to stay in the city of Oakland. Police are investigating a deadly shooting not far from several schools. Our choppers showed police cars blocking off Fontaine Street and Home Avenue, just off of Interstate 580. The gunfire around noon was heard from a preschool just down the street, which then went into lockdown. Police found an adult victim with gunshot wounds inside of a car on that street. He died at the scene. The road has since reopened. There's no word yet on any suspects. And for the 5th year in a row, victims and their families came together at the Oakland Police Station to commemorate National Crime Victims' Rights Week and to ask for the public's help in solving their individual cases. They're pleading for anyone who maybe was too afraid to come forward in the past to do so now, to try and bring some closure to the victims and their families and hopefully avoid future violence and crime.
this is an effort that is a group effort. You not only say something, do something, you got to show up for the community. And if you don't show up, you cannot complain.
Do yourself a favor and say something, because you don't know the day that somebody's going to take your loved one and you'll want someone else to say something.
And according to Oakland police data, there have been 19 homicides so far in 2025. Coming up, it's Friday night. How about a trip to the movies? Still ahead here at 6. We're going inside the East Bay Theater, named one of the coolest in the world.
The illusion of watching a movie here is to be in an outdoor courtyard under a twinkling star sky.
Saw high clouds overhead throughout the day, and those did slow down the warm up just a little bit. But we ended up above average across most of the Bay Area. Low 60s for Half Moon Bay and San Francisco, but otherwise upper 60s and even mid to upper 70s as you will go farther inland. We have even warmer temperatures in store by Sunday and early next week. Details coming up in First Alert Weather.
Pretty cool, right? That's the pipe organ that plays every weekend at the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland. Variety magazine just named it, quote, coolest movie theaters, one of the coolest movie theaters in the world. The Grand Lake Theater was one of the only Bay Area theaters that made the cut. Our Amanda Harry gives us a tour.
The familiar smell of freshly popped popcorn fills the air as you walk through the ornate entrance of the Grand Lake Theater.
It is a splendid survivor of the movie palace era.
Alan Michon has run the theater since 1980, even purchasing the property a few years ago, which will be a century old in 2026. Most of the original interior remains intact.
Let's start with number one, the main auditorium.
When you walk in, it feels more like you're going to see a Broadway show than a blockbuster movie. It quickly becomes clear why the theater just made Variety's list of the coolest movie theaters in the world.
It was a complete surprise when I saw it in my email.
Michon has poured his heart and soul into this place for more than 4 decades. He believes it's made the list because they've maintained the original feel of the theater, which once was home to vaudeville shows.
It harkens back to what it was like going to the movies in the 40s or the 50s.
The curtain, which weighs 2,000 pounds, was used at the old Fox Theater in San Francisco. And in front of it is another surprise.
We have a mighty Wurlitzer organ, which is played on the weekends before the Friday, Saturday night shows.
This video is an example of that. Over the Rainbow played as the auditorium filled with guests.
We created this space in 1985 out of the storefronts, and we created 2 auditoriums, so Theater 3.
This one has an Egyptian theme.
So the illusion of watching a movie here is to be in an outdoor courtyard under a twinkling star sky.
A feel people can't get anywhere else. Gerald Price has been attending showings here for decades.
I'm born and raised in Oakland, so I'd say, 50 years.
And he says if he can, he'll keep coming for another 50.
Local businesses need all the support that they can get. Their popcorn is better than some of the other theaters.
Price was seeing a film upstairs in the original theater's mezzanine, which has been converted into an independent theater. Michon admits there were some needed upgrades.
This is actually one of the original seats from the theater. So in those days, it was not quite as comfortable.
They've also continued to maintain the iconic Grand Lake Theater sign that illuminates the street below.
We get a lot of compliments, and our customers are very loyal.
A piece of living history on the corner of Lake Park and Grand Avenues.
While the Grand Lake Theater may be one of the coolest in the country at nearly 100 years old, it is not actually the oldest in the town. That distinction goes to the Piedmont Theater that opened in 1917. The trade war between the U.S. and China has hit Hollywood. China says it is reducing the number of U.S. films that it imports. They say it's a direct result of the, quote, the U.S. government's misguided practice of indiscriminately applying tariffs to China and its industries. Industry experts say that studios losing revenue from such a massive market could impact production.
Their budgets are going to have to go down because they're not going to see that money coming out of China. And if what happens in China is going to happen in Europe and in Australia and any other countries, those budgets are going to have to get squeezed even more.
China already has a quota for importing foreign films. We'll be right back, but first, a look at your ski report.
Hey, it's time to scope out the conditions with the latest Toyota Tahoe report. I'm Johnny Mosley, your host for the day. Let's see what kind of weather we're going to get into.
The middle of April really never brings us what you would call ideal skiing conditions, but all things considered, this weekend is not looking bad at all. Sugar Bowl and Kirkwood are the only resorts reporting spring skiing conditions. Everyone else is still showing either machine-groomed or variable conditions. That's not great, but it's not terrible either. We're showing you Saturday's high temperatures on the map here. Everyone will reach the 50s, and with temperatures like these, even the decent conditions won't last long. So get up there and take advantage of the snow while you can. Long-range data still points to a chance of some new snow later this month. Keep your fingers crossed for that, and we'll keep you updated here in the Toyota Tahoe Report.
So we're joined now by Paul Hagen. Paul, the weather has been absolutely gorgeous all week, but I'll tell you, my allergies are going haywire.
Yeah, where the pollen count is in the highest category for the next few days. Maybe a tiny bit of relief by like Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, but
how about just a 1 hour shower?
No.
No.
You have to do that for yourself. You have to find some place where you can turn the water on and not worry about the bill for a little while.
I've been doing that at each end of the day.
Yeah, you have to stock up on medication, use the neti pot whenever possible. We had some clouds, but no moisture out of those clouds today. Let's take a look at the satellite replay over the course of the last 6 hours, and the majority of the more substantial cloud cover is farther up to our north. So we had some fog at the coast. It started inland and then retreated to the coast, but then passing clouds higher up in the atmosphere. That has been the trend throughout the afternoon and now into the evening. This whole mass of cloud cover is going to move farther off to the east, and we're going to see mostly sunny skies as we head through the weekend. So even those high clouds that are out there at the moment, not going to be nearly as prevalent as we head into Saturday and Sunday, but still plenty of them out there right now as we look out from the Mark Hopkins Hotel, looking to the west and seeing that veil of cloud cover farther up in the atmosphere and a little bit of fog near sea level right along the coast. Temperatures anywhere from only the upper 50s in San Francisco to mostly mid 60s inland. One warm spot still clinging to 72 degrees right now in Concord, but the 70s are also pretty few and far between at the moment. Now, later on tonight, we're not going to see as much fog as we've seen for the past few nights, but there's going to be some of it out there by early tomorrow morning, mainly confined to the coastline and Bayside, on the east side of the bay. I don't think it's going to be able to climb over the Oakland Hills and make its way into the interior valleys to any great extent, and even not pushing too far into the Santa Clara Valley. So that fog will not take long to dissipate, and temperatures are going to warm up from a pretty normal start. Temperatures are going to be in the 40s across the entire Bay Area. Most of us in the mid to upper 40s. These numbers about a degree or two below average. You're not really going to be able to notice. Just a normally cool April morning. The coolest spots in the North Bay valleys dipping down into the low 40s in Santa Rosa and in Petaluma. Temperatures are going to warm up from that cool start. We'll end up anywhere from 1 to 4 degrees above normal, and farthest above normal the farther away from the coast you go. Only near 60 degrees right along the coast, but mid to upper 60s around the bay. A mix of upper 60s and low to mid 70s for the North Bay, mostly in the mid 70s east of the Oakland Hills, although only 70 in Livermore, and around 70 degrees in the Santa Clara Valley, just short of 70 in San Jose and just above it for Los Gatos. Good dog walking weather for tomorrow, and a fine looking pup in the dog walking forecast as well. This is Pixel, who is going to have to squint into the sunshine tomorrow. Not going to see much fog to begin the day. Even in San Francisco, the temperatures, while they're only going to end up a degree or two above average, it counts as above average in the middle of April. We'll take that, especially with full sunshine, and conditions will not be as breezy as they were today. The winds are in the process of dying down already. Temperatures will take a bigger step up on Sunday. The UV index with all that sunshine is going to be one category higher than it was today, which is not in the extremely high category, but still high enough that you should grab the sunglasses and keep some sunscreen handy if you're going to be spending some weekend time outdoors, either tomorrow or again on Sunday. The rain chances are very few and far between. In fact, there are none in the 7-day forecast, but you notice on the forecast chart here, there's a little bump Wednesday night through Thursday and Friday. There's a chance there's a little ripple in the atmosphere is going to approach the coast, likely of Southern California late next week. If that jogs a little bit farther north, we could see a couple showers sneaking up towards us, but the odds are not very favorable for us, which in the month of April, we don't completely rule out the possibility of some additional rain. It's not our rainiest month. In fact, it's middle of the pack. We get about half of what we typically get in March, but that number gets cut even farther in the month of May. So we're starting to run out of chances to add up any additional rain on top of what has already accumulated during the water year. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, and we'll start at the coast, where temperatures are going to reach up to a mix of 50s and 60s, mid-60s for the warmest days Sunday and Monday, and those will be the warmest days for the entire Bay Area. Inland, bayside temperatures are going to reach up into the middle portion of the 70s on those warmest days, Sunday and Monday, and then you're back down to only a degree or two above normal by Tuesday through the rest of next week with more of a mix of clouds and sunshine. Here are the inland temperatures getting up into the low 80s Sunday and Monday. It's not record-setting, but certainly toasty, and then back down into the middle portion of the 70s next week. Devin?
All right, thank you, Paul. Friday Night Lights are associated with football, but when we come back, how some pro athletes are bringing Saturday Night Lights to encourage young soccer players in San Jose. And here's a look at what's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
Tonight, we go to a place with one of the highest concentrations of U.S. military veterans,
where fellowship is a treatment for war wounds. Later on the CBS Evening News.
The city of San Jose is teaming up with the Earthquakes and other community partners to launch their new Saturday Night Lights youth indoor soccer program. It's also known as Futsal. The 10-week pilot program offers a safe and a supported place for middle and high school kids to play soccer on Friday and Saturday nights. The program kicks off tonight at Leyva Middle School and then again tomorrow at the Washington United Youth Center. Students at the event say they couldn't wait to be a part of this program.
I feel really grateful that they picked my school specifically, to start it off, and I was really excited. I ran to the office and got the paper.
The Earthquakes say that after this first 10 weeks, they hope to expand that program to serve all of Santa Clara County in the future. And more soccer news. PayPal Park and Levi Stadium are both hosting this year's CONCACAF Gold Cup. The international competition is going to bring teams from El Salvador, Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course the U.S. national team to the Bay Area with games starting in June. Tickets go on sale on Thursday, April 17th. The CBS Evening News with anchors Maurice Dubois and John Dickerson is next here on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're going to be back here in 30 minutes with the CBS News Bay Area at 7.